All right, you guys have been waiting long enough. I'm back, and right now it is the executive committee. Basically just getting up and talking about cooperation, but there's going to be some stuff going on in a little bit. Let's check in with you guys. Michael, where'd you go? Yes, show up. All right. That is it, y'all. Yep, the final-ish countdown. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here over on. That's what I had for supper. That's what I made. I'm a burger guy. I believe might be getting the name wrong. Was it Mike or Ryan Anderson who was interacting earlier in the chat and also hit me up on Twitter? And was talking about George Moats, and that picture there is for you. But over on Twitter, Tom Askell is talking about how there might be a runoff. So didn't have the percentage probably. I would imagine that he's in the know, and so he's saying, "Hey, everybody, stay in the room." There's probably going to be another vote going on for presidency. The votes have been cast though. And we'll see who wins. Frank Cox coming out of nowhere with the nomination and being part of it. If you are here and you've enjoyed, at least so far, my coverage of all this stuff, hit the like button. It helps me out and helps other people to be able to see this. I am not streaming on Twitter right now. I just am streaming here on YouTube's the old school way, because it was just too complicated, and I really don't like when the comments come in and they look weird. So must still be making dinner. Yeah, it took a little bit. Making a good burger is not like the fastest thing. I know. You go to McDonald's and it's like 10 seconds, but a real good burger, it requires love, and that takes time. Christian Lee, nail biter indeed. Now I know what the rest of the world feels like when the U.S. has presidential elections. They know whatever happens will affect everyone regardless of affiliation. Yeah, definitely. It always impacts. And this election is going to make a difference. Especially, like, I did a pretty thorough Google search of Frank Cox, because I had never heard of him. And when out of nowhere he becomes a candidate, usually these are things that are announced like well beforehand. And so I was like, who is this guy? What is he doing? He's very political, very conservative, which is kind of odd. Like I said, like maybe they didn't think after Voti lost last night that Tom Askell could get the votes that they needed in order to have like that really conservative president that they wanted, and they would view Bart Barber, which is kind of silly, honestly, thinking about it, that Bart Barber is the liberal. But yeah, so they have Frank Cox running, and I don't know, maybe something's going to happen with that. But let's turn the volume up over here and just see what they're going to be doing. There's a couple different things that are going to be happening here.
The cooperative program will only take us as far as Southern Baptists are able to fund it. The cooperative program begins with the person in the pew.
Money, which I mean, like, you gotta do that, because you want to be able to fund missionaries. You want to be able to fund all the different things that the Southern Baptists want to do, but that requires a lot of talk about it. Let's see, what else are you guys saying? Christian, anyone familiar with why people are opposed to David Prince being nominated? Who is that? I don't even know. Was there talk about another guy being nominated? What's all that about? I don't know. Is that for a different office, Christian? I'm not familiar. Andrea, anyone knows what's happening? No. It's all chaos right now. There are people in a back room somewhere counting the votes, and that's probably the biggest thing. Maybe we'll find out on the stream. They've still got quite a bit of business to do. A lot of different committees to come up and talk and all of that. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll be able to find out on this stream. We might have to wait. Maybe there's another runoff election. Some craziness happened while I was making my burger, which we will talk about in just a minute after I'm done saying hi to everybody who's here. Well, I guess I am done saying hi to everyone that's here. Hop in the chat if you're here. I see 17 of you are here right now. Hop in the chat. Let me know what you think is going on. And how you think things are progressing. What do you think the trajectory of stuff is right now? Let's see. The music is very Anaheim and vibe. It's chill music. That's what I want when I do my countdowns. It's just chill stuff. If you have been for in your town, try them out. They make the best burgers. I wholeheartedly disagree, Andrea. I make the best burgers. There's George Moats. Then there's me. And there's not that much difference, you see. No, I'm just kidding. And then there's, I don't know, what has been for? Like, I will say, like, as far as fast food places, Five Guys is pretty good. All right? Every once in a while, I could do a Five Guys. It's good. Now, other places, it's like, it's not that great. Wow. Dat bun on the burger. Hashtag dat bun. It's probably not a good hashtag. Never mind. You went all out. You don't play around with burgers. No, I don't. It's serious business. Okay? It's serious. Just like what we're reacting to right now. It's just burger talk, I guess. We'll get into it. It's just, they're talking about cooperative funds and yeah. Let's see. Man, today, how everything is, you can be a 2010 conservative and be considered a woke leftist now. Boy, don't I know it. I've been called woke several times today. Several times. It's just, I gotta laugh because it's just so silly to me. Like, really? I'm woke? Okay. Like my comeback is always definition, please. Define that for me. Andrea, Binfor is a burger place on the West Coast, British Columbia. I've never heard of it. I've only spent a little bit of time in British Columbia. I'm from Seattle, and we only went across the border a couple times. And I was out in Kimberley a couple years ago. That was fun. By the way, super excited. Me and my wife are going to get out of town. This is eventually we will talk about the SBC, okay? We're going to get there. Me and my wife are going out of town to celebrate our 12th year anniversary. That Kimberley thing reminded me of that because that was an anniversary trip. A lot of cool things out there in BC. Just haven't been out there in a while. You're right. It is too expensive. And thank you for being here, Jesus. Jesus, you're here. Thanks. Who are the nominees for SBC President? Good question, Sean. Always coming in and being like, hey, this is actually like a conversation thing. Yeah. So we had Tom Askell, who I've talked about quite a bit. Founders, president, director. I'm not sure exactly what his title is. He's the head guy for Founders. Kind of a big shot. Very loud. And then you have Bart Barber, who's also very loud, and has served as vice president before, and they're both pastors. And then there's another guy. Who was it? Oh, I don't even know. It's like Robin something. Don't know a whole lot about him. And then Frank Cox, who is a pastor out of Georgia, and he just came and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this today." Like today, he decided I'm running for SBC president. Which, I mean, if he were to win, it's pretty baller. But also, like, maybe you guys don't need to do like a full-on like year out kind of like run to this election thing. It's not a year out. They've been talking about it for a few months, but maybe we don't need all that, like the political cycle. But yeah, so there's 4 different candidates, and then there was talk about a 5th, and maybe there was, and I just didn't catch it because I was flipping burgers. And it happens fast, okay? Like it takes a while to get going, and then it happens fast. So I was just watching, and I'm just thankful I didn't get a whole bunch of grease in my beard. Guys, if you have a beard and you eat burgers, it's a thing. Let's see. Yeah, I'm probably am missing out. Maybe they are the best burger place in the world, and I've never had it. And I'm just sitting out here in Saskatchewan being like, if only, if only. Thanks, man. Happy 12th anniversary to you both. Appreciate it. Mostly goes to my wife. She gets the win because she's had to put up with a little bit more. So which one am I rooting for? Good question, Sean. Again, I'm rooting for Bart Barber because not that I have a vote, not that I really matter a whole lot other than just commentating from afar. But I am pulling for him because I think that he's probably the only one that will actually take abuse seriously. And I do think that is the critical issue. And as I've mentioned several times, I think that a lot of people are not seeing that as the critical issue, which is very concerning. And they're mostly concerned about other things like CRT and all of that kind of stuff. And I do think at the end of the day, Calvinism is going to be the breaking point. And I think that's why Frank Cox decided to run. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I think that's what it was. And so a lot of people in the SBC are not Calvinists. They don't like Calvinists. And so, yeah, I think that might be a reason why he decided to run. 19 of you now. So hop in the chat. Let me know what you guys think is going on. Yeah, let's see what is going to be said here. So let me go over to my little agenda here.
Thank you, Brother Willie.
I think that was the executive committee report, if I was...
Committee on order of business for a report.
Okay. Committee on order of business report. Okay. So that means they're not that far off. They're only about 20 minutes off their schedule.
The Committee on Order of Business brings this report regarding the disposition of some of the motions that were made during this morning's session.
Disposition.
Please understand that we have not had an opportunity due to time restrictions to review all the motions that were made this morning, but please be patient. There will be more motions made today, and we will actually be reviewing those tonight, and they'll be part of our report tomorrow. So if you do not hear your motion brought forth in this session, just be patient. It's coming tomorrow.
Okay.
The committee determined that the following motions deal with the internal operations of ministries of convention entities. Under SBC Bylaw 26B, these motions are automatically referred to the appropriate SBC entities for consideration and report to the 2023 Southern Baptist Convention meeting in New Orleans. To Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary, Michelle Leslie of Louisiana moved that an investigation be made of sex abuse at Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary. To Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, Dwight McKissick of Texas moved that the Southern Baptist Seminary study and report the removal of any name connected with chattel slavery.
That last one is interesting, the Dwight McKissick one, because he's talking about buildings and being named after slaveholders, which a lot of them are. And so it's a little concerning. So I would probably be on board with that one.
Bennington, Vermont. I actually had a question for the executive committee.
This guy's been up there a lot.
During the end of their speech, but they left and you weren't there. Can I ask that question now?
No, we are in the midst of this report from the Committee on Order of Business. I'm sorry.
I will say Ed Litton has done a fantastic job of chairing. Like a lot of these guys, they're just always looking back at Barry McCarty, their parliamentarian, and being like, I don't know what to do. And Ed has just been like on the ball.
Microphone 4A.
Well, he doesn't get to talk.
I am Jennifer Buck, a messenger from
Here we go.
Texas.
It's happening again.
The motion related to an inquiry into allegations against the Southeastern Seminary.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to appeal to the ruling of the chair. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, and my fellow messengers.
Excuse me, Ms. Buck. Hold on just 1 second, please. We're still dealing with what you're asking for first.
So if you weren't in the last stream, go and check that out after of when Tom Buck he just kind of lost it when he was going at the task force and saying, like, how could we trust you when I've been treated in such an awful way? And so I guess we get round two of that a little bit.
Under bylaw 26B are motions that are referred under our rules because they deal with the internal operations of an entity. And so they automatically go to the trustees of that entity. However, the rule has a provision for its own suspension. By a 2/3 vote, you may vote to order this motion to be scheduled for debate sometime during the annual session. So the motion.
So if they want to talk about the Buck situation with Southeastern, 2/3 vote.
Going to ask, shall the decision of the Committee on Order of Business be overturned? And a 2/3 vote will overturn that, and you will get to debate it. If not, then it will automatically go to the trustees as referred. So the question, shall the decision of the Committee on Order of Business be overturned?
So the question is, shall the report of the Committee on the Order of Business be overturned? You have your ballots?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do about this. Like, the whole Buck situation is, like, not good. It's concerning that people were passing around this thing, but at the same time, they were trying to get it published. So I don't know why they're so upset that it got out. Like, they were trying to get it published the way that it was. So I'm a little confused on that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they weren't trying to get it published, but seems weird to be bringing that to the convention floor several times now. What's going to happen?
If you want this order ordered out, vote yes. If you want this to go to the trustees, vote no. Is that correct?
Okay.
You ready?
I'm very confused now. What does that mean, ordering this out, just like that it goes away? Like, I thought they were talking about debating it at a different time. Is that what it means, go out? I'm lost. I'm lost. Sometimes Baptist life is just very confusing. Let's go into trustees.
Okay, the decision of the committee is upheld because there are not 2/3 in the affirmative. Under the convention's rules, these motions are referred as indicated by the Committee on the Order of Business.
Okay, so it's going to the trustees of the Southeastern
It is the
Seminary.
convention's long-standing practice to refer complex motions, including motions which affect the Constitution or bylaws, to the Executive Committee for its consideration.
Like, I feel bad.
On behalf
Like,
of the Committee on Order
obviously they're
of Business,
very
I
hurt
move that
by
the following
whatever
motions be
happened.
referred to the Executive Committee of
But
the Southern Baptist Convention
it's
for
just,
consideration and report to the 2023 Southern Baptist Convention in your
I don't know all the nuances of the conversation either, but it just seems like you guys wanted this to be published. So I don't know why they're so surprised that it was getting passed around when they wanted it to get passed around at the beginning, at least. And then Kern Swallowbriar got hit by a bus. Like, not a whole lot you can do about that.
Samuel Gilliam of Louisiana moved that trustees contact.
All right. Let's see. So the funniest part of all this is that the idea of creating a task force or committee is so opposed, but the SBC has, like, conservatively 1,000 committees. Yeah. Hey, thanks. I appreciate it. Heather's a lifesaver. Black tea lemonades. Look how big this thing is, too. Okay, cool. This will get me through the stream. I'm a Starbucks guy, okay? And I guess she just took the boys to go probably get cake pops. But now I got something to drink. Awesome. Yeah. Even earlier when they were talking about, like, there's a committee on committees, Michael. A committee on committees. It's like the Baptist turducken. It's like, why do you have to have a committee about a committee, or at least more committees? It's very convoluted.
Jason Sampler of Georgia regarding trustee selection. In key
Sampler is a good
time,
follow on Twitter, by the way.
a day be added to the SBC calendar to accentuate abuse of any kind.
All right, you have heard these motions to refer from the Committee on Order of Business. Is there any discussion? Microphone 3A, point of order, please.
Yes, my name is Mike Haynes, Deer Creek Baptist Church, Stroud, Oklahoma. I had a point of order on her motion. There was no time given for discussion for or against. We did not stop for the point of order that I pressed before we voted. We voted and visually decided that 2/3 had not voted, and we did not count the ballots. I believe that she should have been allowed for someone to speak for her motion.
So this guy is
Thank you for that.
going for the Bucks to be able to have this discussion. It just seems so weird
The point of order is
to like have this conversation so public. Like, this is a live stream.
microphone 4A.
Yes, sir. I had a question. My name is Samuel Gillum. I submitted one of the motions.
This guy's been up too.
If they're referred to the executive committee,
There's 11.
is there no way for us to speak?
There's 11,000 people here.
Committee is advised on
Oh, that was glitchy. There's 11,000 people here. Why are we seeing the same like 20 people at the microphone? I will never understand that. Are they just like setting up camp and like being like, go away, you can't come up here? Like, I don't understand how they're able to always be there.
I had liked to contact some trustees, and there was absolutely no way for me to.
So a lot of frustration is what I'm hearing about. I don't feel like I'm being heard, which as like I'm moving the volume down as I say that. Yep. Let's see. Andrea, I'm unclear as to how the Buck situation concerns the SBC as a whole. Seems to me this isn't the appropriate venue for them to be bringing this up. Agreed. Like, you got issues, deal with it. Like, I don't know the inner workings of everything that's gone on there. I do know that Tom Buck has used very shady means, publicly, recording stuff, like conversations and people saying that they said that he wasn't recording, and I don't know. It's all weird, all that stuff. I'm not going to make a firm call on anything because I'll probably get sued. It seems like that kind of thing. This is like some of the Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, crossing the line confusion. I have socks of Bill Murray. Like, I have Bill Murray socks, which I don't know. There's stuff going on with Bill Murray too, but I have like, it's got him, like his face from different movies that he's in, and Life Aquatic is on there. Oh, this one's a big one. So they're talking about the abolishing of the ERLC thing.
I want to ask Dr. Willie McLaren to come because I want to be clear on this. There is an opportunity, if you have presented a motion that has been referred to the executive committee, there's an opportunity to speak to that.
Thank you, Mr. President. So grateful for all of the motions that have been entrusted to the executive committee. As a part of our committee process, one of the things that we have in place is we actually send a personal invitation to the motion maker to actually come and speak to the committee face to face. We just believe that just that personal contact is just the right way to do the things that we need to do. Now, of course, the travel to where our meeting is at the
We want to do this behind closed doors and not publicly on the internet. That's what that is.
Amen.
All right. We're still waiting, by the way. Still waiting for election results for Tom Askell and Barber and all of that. I need to have my Twitter open, be able to see. People usually know stuff beforehand. Oh, let's see.
Have the results of the election of our president. We're going to move to the election of the recording secretary.
Okay, so you're going to that election. Let me turn this down a little bit. All right, I brought this up in there. The whole Tom Buck thing is super confusing. It would be one thing if it was hacked or personal, but also they were attempting to get it edited for publishing. Okay, was that it? Like they were trying to get it edited? I thought that they were trying to get it published. That they wanted Karen Swallow Pryor's like connections to get it published. Might be a big difference, but at the same time, like you wrote it. So, and you're like the point of what you wrote, even if it's going to get edited, is still to get published. And so years later, they're upset that this thing got public, that they originally wanted public. It's all confusing. I'm sure that there are genuine feelings in there, but seems odd to be, like, I agree. Seems odd to just be bringing it up so publicly. And yeah, it's the Tom Buck stuff has mostly been on Twitter over the last like week and a half or so. It's been like really going. It involves Southeastern Seminary and Karen Swallow Pryor and Keith Whitfield, who works there, and it's all weird. Is Saddleback still in or out of the SBC? Let's talk about that. Thank you. That reminds me, I wanted to bring up something. So let me go over. I'm going to pause this. Wrong button, Dean. Wrong button. We're going to come over here. All right, that works, right? Okay. And I actually recorded what happened, because like I heard its name and I was like, really, this is happening? And so I started recording. So this is something that happened earlier. Earlier today, there was a bunch of talk coming out of the Credentials Committee because they were asked to look at Saddleback Church because they have ordained women for ministry. They have female pastors, which is in violation of the Baptist Faith and Message, which is supposedly the ruling document of the SBC. And I say that way because, well, there's a lot of people who think differently on the Baptist Faith and Message and are still in friendly cooperation with the SBC. But they came out of that saying that the committee came out and said, hey, we want you guys to do a study about what it means to be a pastor according to the Baptist Faith and Message, and then we will make a recommendation about their credentials. In other words, whether we refer them to the executive committee, again, committees upon committees, refer them to the executive committee for getting rid of them. And there was a lot of talk, and a lot of people were saying a lot of harsh things. And Tom Askell was one of them. Al Mohler was one of them. Now, about my feelings, I said it earlier in the stream. You know, if Saddleback is going to do that, I think it's a pretty clear violation of the Baptist Faith and Message. But I will say that not even having really a conversation with the church on that, which at least to my knowledge hasn't happened, and just the way that it was being done did not feel like the Christian way to do it, to be honest to me. It just seemed like they were just using them as a big target, an easy target to be like, look at them, and going at them. And so Rick Warren came, and he was there, and because he is a Southern Baptist, and he came out, and this is what he had to say. We'll get back over to the election here in a minute, but all right, I'm going to turn the volume up on this one.
You know, first, everybody, welcome to Orange County, Southern Baptist. Of 149 Southern Baptist churches here, 90 of them started by Saddleback Church.
90. Wow. That's crazy. This was about an hour and a half ago.
You know, it's customary for a guy who's about to be hung to let him say his dying words. I have no intention of defending myself. I have taught my kids and grandkids for years, I am most like Christ when I refuse to defend myself. The Bible says Jesus spoke not a word unto them when Pilate accused him of all kinds of things. So I have no intention. I have most of you on my mailing list anyway, and I can write you and tell you what I believe about the gift of pastoring as opposite from the office of pastoring. But I'm not here to talk about that. Lunchtime, I wrote you a love letter, and I'd like for my possibly, likely last convention to read it to you. Kay and I...
You hear that?
Could have not built Saddleback Church to its size and influence in any other denomination.
Listen to the emotion in his voice.
I love Southern Baptist. I am a fourth-generation Southern Baptist pastor. My great-grandfather was led to Christ by Charles Spurgeon and sent to America as a church planter. Saddleback was sponsored by the North American Mission Board. I served on the staff of the California State Convention and the Texas State Convention as a teenager. Billy Graham picked me up when I was 18, and for the next 52 years mentored me, because I started at 16 years old, hired by the California Convention to preach youth revivals, and I had preached over 120 harvest crusades before I was 20. Billy took this long-haired, skinny Californian and mentored me for the next 52 years. Here's my love letter to you.
Wow. Love
because
letter.
I really am grateful. If this is my last convention. Because of Southern Baptist polity, I was allowed to serve one church for life. That's not possible in most denominations. And grew it to become the largest church in this convention. Because Southern Baptists gave me a passion for evangelism and mission, we baptized 56,631 new believers. And as a Southern Baptist Church, sent 26,869 members overseas to 197 nations.
I mean, you hear that. It's just
Because
insane, the
Southern
numbers.
Baptists taught me the value of a membership covenant. 78,157 members of our church signed our membership covenant after taking a 4-hour membership class. Because Southern Baptists taught me to emphasize the priority of Bible study, we now have 9,173 home Bible studies in homes in 162 Southern California cities. Because Southern Baptists taught me the value of church planting. As I already mentioned, we planted 90 in Orange County alone, and literally thousands around the world. Because Southern Baptists taught me to honor and love the local church, I've had the privilege for 43 years of training 1.1 million pastors. Sorry, friends, that's more than all the seminaries put together.
Shots fired.
I owe you all so much. So I sincerely say, thank you, Southern Baptist, for shaping my life. And in closing,
I don't think that's an
ask
act.
you to consider a couple
You know,
questions.
some of these pastors, they just
You're never going to
act,
find
but
another Baptist who
I feel
agrees
it.
with you completely on everything. There are Baptist brothers here today who don't believe Jesus died for the whole world. But we imagine somehow get along with them.
He's talking about Calvinists.
So as Western culture grows more dark, more evil, more secular, we have to decide, are we going to treat each other as allies or adversaries? Second, since this is the year 2022, that means we are 2,022 years
I'm going to fast forward a
from the
little
birth
bit.
of Christ. Mission in AD 33, he sent the Holy Spirit.
He gets into years. I don't know what that was about, to be honest.
We'll make a resolution that Baptists take the next 10 years to finish the task of the Great Commission in our generation before the 2000th anniversary of the church? Are we going to keep bickering over secondary issues? Or are we going to keep the main thing the main thing? We need to finish the task, and that will make God smile. Thank you, everybody. I love you.
So when I saw that, I was so taken back because, like, I've never been a fan of Rick Warren. I'm not someone who reads his books. Like I said earlier, I had to read Purpose Driven Church for a class in Bible college, but like, I didn't like it. Like, his methodology is not something that I would say is good. Some of his theological viewpoints I would disagree with. Obviously, female ordination, I'm pretty, like, I have stuff on my channel. I'm pretty wide open about my stance on that issue. So does he belong in the Southern Baptist Convention? I don't think so. Like, does Saddleback belong in the SBC? No, if they're going to be going against the Baptist faith and message. But the way that he was just being attacked and the way that he has been attacked, I just think is kind of shameful. Like, the things that people say about him, like, you're not going to find, I've said this a couple times today, you're not going to find the scandals. Or at least to my knowledge, I don't know of any. I've never heard anyone accuse him of any kind of scandal in his character. And, like, yeah, you might disagree with some of his theological viewpoints, but let's be honest, there are tons of people in the SBC who have all kinds of viewpoints about other things too. When you have 47,000 churches, you're going to have a lot of disagreements. It has to be a very, very, very big umbrella. And that's why the Baptist Faith and Message is a pretty watered down document, because otherwise it would limit a lot of churches and keep them out of the SBC. So he's probably done. They're probably going to vote him out. To answer Sean's question earlier, yeah, he's probably going to get out. I think it's up to the committee now, the credentials committee. They asked for, some further guidance from the messengers about whether, this study of pastors should be done so they could better understand. And that got shut down. And so now it sits with them and they have to make a decision about referring that to the executive committee to get them out. It's a very crazy kind of process to do it. It's why it doesn't happen all that often, but I just really appreciated his heart and kind of was shocked a little bit at hearing some of those things and how much that he's done in Southern Baptist life. Like, you hear about him and you think about, like, him praying at Obama's inauguration and things like that. But you don't think about, he's planted 90 churches in Orange County. Man, that's insane. Let's see what's going on here. So they're standing around. I'm going to actually refresh this. I'm going to exit out and refresh just so I make sure that it's live.
There's 8,095 messengers registered with 6,846.
Oh, I think we're getting the election results for presidency.
Received 3,258 votes, which represented 47.58%. Tom Askell received 2,332 votes, which represented 34.06%. Frank Cox received 887 votes, which represented 12.95%. Robin Hathaway received 340 votes for 4.97%. There was 30 disallowed votes, which represented
Okay. We're going to have a runoff, I think, right? That's what that means? Between the top two? What happened?
So
Okay, they're showing it.
results are
Or wait, it's only 34.
47 messengers casting ballots. Bart Barber received 3,258, 47.58%. Tom Askell, 2,332 at 34.06%. Frank Cox, 887 at 12.95%. And Robin Hadaway, 340 votes for 4.97%. This means we do not have enough votes for a candidate, so there will have to be a
Yeah, I think you have to get over 50.
Again, I will ask Don Currens to come back and prepare us for that.
So there's going to be a runoff election between Bart Barber and Tom Askell. Interesting. Okay. But, I mean, even if you bring... We'll do the math here in a sec. Let's listen to what's being said.
Okay, we know the drill, so please get your ballots. I'm dealing ballot number 4. This is for the runoff between Bart Barber and Tom Askell. Ballot number 4. Now, I need to ask a question. Ushers, have you collected all the ballots from this last election?
Oh, that's a good question. They just had another. See, that's a guy who knows his job and being like, wait, let's make sure we got all the ballots from the last one before we give him more.
Hey, if your ballot has not been collected for this last election, yell no. I'm asking for a sign. Okay, good. I want to make sure clarity between the two.
I like this guy.
Okay. Therefore, for the office of the presidency runoff, okay, to vote for Bart Barber, mark number 1 on your ballot number 4.
All right. So
Ballot number 4.
I think it's just between the top two, right?
Office of presidency, number 1. For Tom Askell, mark number 5. Tom Askell, number 5. So to vote for Bart Barber on ballot number 4, mark 1.
Yeah, so it's between those two. So it's interesting. So we have 47.58 for Barber, which, like, I do think he's going to win. But then you have 34% for Askell, and there's a 13%. This is a wild card because you had Frank come out of nowhere and be nominated. He's very conservative. So I'm thinking those votes that went from Frank Cox will probably go up to Askell. This might be really, really close. Well, maybe even closer than I thought. I was sure that it wouldn't be that close. And then, like, Holloway, I don't even know. Like, that's 5%. That's just kind of like up in the air. I don't know where those are going to go. So this is going to be pretty dang close. Let's see. What are you guys saying over here? Katie, I'm late, but I made it. Hey, how's it going? Glad you made it. It doesn't matter if you're late. You know, you're here. This isn't school.
Y'all pray for Don and his tellers. They're probably going to be there all night.
Yeah. Same here. A lot of this I never knew about Rick. I'd heard the story because he says it a lot about, like, my great-great-great-grandfather being sent out from Spurgeon.
I love Don Currens, and I love he's a man of character.
But yeah, a lot of the other stuff I was like, what? Oh, snap. As if his great-great-great-great-grandfather was a Spurgeon convert. I'm surprised they allow him. Oh, man. You're getting real, Michael. Yeah, a lot of these guys who love Spurgeon in the SBC, it's very interesting because they, the SBC back in the day when Spurgeon was around, didn't like him. And actually, the reason why Spurgeon never came over to North America is because of the death threats that he got specifically from the South on his views on slavery. Like, he thought that if he were to come over here, he would be killed. So it's just kind of weird.
I move that this convention request each of our entities to initiate a comprehensive review of their respective governing documents to determine whether their entity's current governance structures are sufficient as currently ordered to fulfill their ministry assignments. I further move that the result of
You can see a lot of these people are having the issue with the speaker and being able to talk at the same time. It's a mind bender, guys. Let's see, where are we at? Oh, so we're okay. This is the last opportunity for new motions to be made, and they got a lot of voting to do on these motions. Well, I guess if they get through some of the committees, it's all filtered.
Excuse me. Hold on. Is there a second to that? No.
All right. I'm going to quiet that down for a minute and just interact with you guys. Don, I below Rick Warren's father was a Baptist minister too. Or you probably meant I believe Rick Warren's father was a Baptist minister too. Yeah. Lot of just roots that I did not exactly know. Is the Baptist faith and confession that you've been referring to speak about Calvinism, whether it holds to it or not? The Baptist faith and message, is that what you're referring to? That is the ruling document of belief within the Southern Baptist Convention?
With an overtly biblical worldview and those with a sufficiently professional background directly related to the task. The commission will have a distinct function to
Okay. If you're referring to that, Sean, that does not really have anything about Calvinism. It's honestly, unless you're a Presbyterian or maybe a Methodist, you could look at that. If you're just like just in general a Christian, you could probably affirm a lot of that. It's like I said, it's a very friendly statement of belief to try to get as many people under the umbrella as possible. So no, it doesn't take a strong stance on any of that stuff. But the one that I go for, the 1689, definitely does. I mean, I am surprised they are an SBC. And then again, the SBC didn't seem to have issue with concealing abuse and shaming victims. Let's see. Yafet, I think Saddleback will do just fine. There are people who love Warren and will continue to support his ministry. Yeah, like, whatever. It's no skin off their nose as far as, like, how they operate as a church, whether they're SBC or not. It's just probably going to really hurt Rick Warren, which, I mean, you got to adhere to the Baptist faith and message. I think he gets that. It's just hard. And especially, like, we don't know his heart. We all change our minds on some things. And I know I have theologically, and I've moved quite a bit over the years. And so as you do that, you lose touch with where you were at, right? With those people that you were at. And so for someone who spent like their entire ministry, he's retiring, guys, in October. Someone who spent their entire ministry there in the Southern Baptist Convention to leave it behind, that's painful. So I feel for the guy, but it's, at the same time, you gotta believe the Baptist faith and message, and it's pretty clear on qualified male only eldership. But to be honest, it could be more clear because there's still a lot of room, and I do think that it would be wise for them to do that study on what it means to be a pastor, because a lot of pastors are not treated as pastors, and then you got like I've said, communications pastor. Like, what are you doing? Trying to save the soul of a PC or soundboard? It's weird.
State your name and your church and your motion, please.
Let's see.
I'm Jacob Jackson. I'm the pastor and messenger of Covenant Life Church in Richmond, Virginia. I know we're all hungry, but if you'll just give me a moment. I stand up to speak on behalf of the preconceived, unborn, and the never will be born people, as they have no voice.
So they want abortion done away with and no steps. I accidentally pressed on that. Let's see. Very happy they passed the first and second motion earlier. Yeah, agreed. Bare minimum, but they did it. Yeah. Tom Buck is a wolf. There was a ton behind his question. He is going after the convention because he abused his wife. Yeah, I'm just going to refer people to like look it up. I feel like this is the kind of thing that I could get in real big trouble for just saying what I think. So I'm just going to refer people to Google it, and it's not worth it. I do see, hey, there are 38 of you watching, and I only have 14 likes. And so if you are enjoying this content that I'm doing, let me know by hitting that like button, because I appreciate it. And that lets other people know that, hey, Dean's live right now. And I could come and have a conversation with all of you guys. And also hop in the chat. Let me know what you think about all these things. Should Saddleback stay in the SBC? You know, all these things. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I was really saddened by Mark Coppinger's earlier comments equating the sexual abuse investigation with the 1619 Project. Made him sound very uninformed. Yeah, that was weird. Man. Sometimes when you have like these mics that are open, you just have like people come and say like the craziest stuff. And maybe not everyone should have a microphone. Okay. Like maybe we should have like a little bit of a vetting process. Let's do a third-party investigation with the microphone access. Okay. Yeah. Also, I love your perspective, brother, and the fact that you are present in a gracious and thoughtful way. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I try to be helpful. And also, like, if I wasn't live streaming right now, I'd be watching this thing, and, you know, my wife would just be like, go somewhere else and watch it. So might as well be down here, turn on the cameras and the lights, and talk to you guys, because it's kind of fun. Thanks for explaining things, Dean. I appreciate all of you. Got a dislike. What'd I say? Oh well. Let's see. See what they're talking about now.
Or if necessary, bring any recommended changes in either how said staff operates or is structured before the convention at the annual meeting in New Orleans in 2023.
Is there a second to your motion? There is a second. My brother, would you please...
Basically everybody gets seconded, unless it gets shot down from the stage.
Microphone 2A.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Parker Roberts. It's me again. Hi.
He's been up a lot.
Baptist Church in Troy, Alabama. I'm going to make this short and sweet.
Great beard.
I would like to amend the Baptist Faith and Message Article 1 regarding the scriptures, that we add this line after the second to last sentence.
I don't know how he's wearing a suit jacket, though. It's hot. It's Anaheim.
Authority over the Southern Baptist Convention, the church, and the individual, and therefore hold the final say in doctrine and policy. This is in regards to previous speakers' remarks, and contrary to his goodbye remarks, the sufficiency of Scripture is not a secondary issue.
Brother, thank you. Thank you.
So he's going at Rick Warren. Like, this is what I thought, man. As soon as Rick Warren got up, like, I was moved by what he had to say. I'll just be honest. Like, I feel a lot of sympathy for that. Like, it's hard saying goodbye to people and knowing it's time to probably move on, but man, some of these guys, I knew as soon as he got up that they were just going to be, well, let's go at him even more. It's just like, let the guy go away. He's on his way out, and he knows it.
Task Force would consider encouraging churches to support their local shelters and safe ministries for the sexually abused that provide housing, food, shelter, economic assistance, and legal aid, which would bring the full force of the justice system to their sexual abusers.
Thank you. Is there a second? There is a second, brother. Would you hand that?
That guy has been standing by the microphone like all day, by the way. Like, finally got up.
If we could, in the back, please be quiet. It will help.
Oh.
Thank you.
Ed's getting feisty. That was like, even though he said it with a smile on his face, you know, he's a little upset.
amend the bylaws of the SBC under Section 20 entitled
That in-ear thing with the speaker. I feel bad, man. I would sound way worse than any of these guys. That so affects me.
prior to the start of the SBC annual meeting. So under Section 20, I move to strike the number 75 from the first sentence, as well as each
Some people in the background getting in on the camera. It's like they're at a baseball game.
with 105 in each instance, thereby
All right. I don't know what that's about. By the way, when I do this, it's not just because I'm like petting my beard. It's because there's like a static thing that happens with the microphone thing. My beard always like gets stuck in it. Let's see. Armac, glad you're here. All of this is leaving me feeling more disheartened than encouraged. Yeah, I feel you on that. Like when you start to like get into the dirt on how decisions get made and stuff, it can be very disheartening. But I will say, I'm actually coming away from this actually pretty encouraged. They did something. Like, I mean, even just that. They took, like, yes, like Bruce Frank said, it's the bare minimum, but they did do something. And they're starting to get those going now. Hopefully, there will be even more steps and not steps back when it comes into like some of like these voting times and all of that. Like stuff happens when it like everything is live until like the meeting is over. But I am encouraged that they have made those decisions, and you know, we'll see what happens with the presidency. I think it's a lot closer than I anticipated. I do think that a lot of Cox's votes are probably going to go to Askell, and he had 13% basically. So if you add that 13 to Askell's 34, I mean, you're looking at basically the same number as Barber. So really it comes down to those Holloway votes of that 5%, where are those 5% going to go? So this is going to be a lot more even than I thought. Megan, glad you're here. Yeah. There should be a committee.
Try it again. Is it on?
Oh, someone needs to make that motion. Having some mic issues. It's like they're live streaming or something. Shut down, yeah. Thank you, Dean. I will hold on to that and trust God with this, and I will pray. Thank you. That's all we can do, you know? We could just pray, and if you're part of the Southern Baptist Convention, you can, you know, implement for change in your own local church, and that's really what we're talking about, right? Like, at the end of the day, every one of these churches is going to have to adopt these things. Whoa.
We got you. It's on now.
Yeah, the microphone's on now.
That's helpful. My name is Bill Tackett.
Hi, Bill.
I'm with
Sorry, I missed you at 3, and now you're at 6.
Yeah.
I just want to say hi.
Well, greetings from Deer Creek Baptist Church, Stroud, Oklahoma.
Is that the same Deer Creek Church from before?
26B, or appropriate bylaw, if mistaken, be amended to insert the words, with the exception that the motion is for an investigation of the very institution which would review the motion. I further move that it is
I'm not sure what's going on with that. Yaffet. Okay, let me get this straight. Warren is getting kicked out because he allows women in leadership. Wasn't it male leadership that led to abuse, to the problem with abuse in the SBC? Yeah.
Has been submitted electronically.
To be just straightforward. Yeah. I do think it's bad optics to be, you know, making like Rick Warren like the main thing when we're talking about abuse, and like making like the focus on female pastors and all of that right now. I think it's a bad look, but at the end of the day, like they are right about their statement of belief, right? We gotta mean what we believe. So, but I think it should be done a lot gentler.
Vote for recording secretary just happened. That we just take a moment to honor Dr. John Yates for his 25 years as recording secretary of the SBC. What a man of God.
Would you like to do that, Malachi, right now?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you give a standing ovation and honor to Dr. John Yates for his faithful service to the Southern Baptist Convention?
Well, I think they think that John Yates is going to lose if they're doing that. So he's the recording secretary. I don't know. Some of these positions, it's like, does that have actual power? I don't know. Loving your content. Appreciate that, Ryan. This is the first SBC convention I've seen. Enjoying your commentary. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you're here, I just say it all the time. I'm sorry. You know, like the video if you're here. Just do it. It's fun. There's a little animation that plays. It's pretty rad. Check it out.
I am the pastor at Foothills Southern Baptist Church of Yuma, Arizona.
I know. I might text Joe. Joe Thorne. Be like, hey, want to add some commentary on this? I'm sure him and Jimmy will do an episode on Doctrine and Devotion. Or maybe I could get Trey Van Camp. I know he's there. And maybe we can get his input on some things.
To generate said report to the proper police authority, i.e. the National Police Department, as soon as possible in its entirety.
I didn't hear all the first part, but that's the first time I've heard someone say, hey, let's get the police involved. That's good.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Imran Ogle, and I'm the assistant pastor and duly elected messenger from Union Missionary Baptist Church, Cleveland, Tennessee. Like so many of our pastors, I am bivocational. During the week, as I serve as a kindergarten through 8th
It's just,
grade public school
I feel
library.
bad for them.
I hold an MA in pastoral ministry from NOBTS, but I also hold a Master of Library Science from a large state university in Tennessee. This is the foundation of my motion.
Brother,
okay.
You get to I move that.
I do therefore move and petition the Executive Committee of the SBC and the Council of Seminary Presidents to join together in examination of the formation of a Master of Library Science program apart from the ALA.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Okay, I got a question from Trinity Lawn Care. When is the presidential runoff? Have you heard any update? They just did that. They are counting the votes. And I don't expect us to hear who won for probably another hour. I don't know. Man, I've been doing that all day, looking at my screen. You need to look over at you guys. My bad. So I don't have any insider knowledge or anything. So I would imagine that within about an hour or so, we'll find out the results. Now, it has to be 50%. And so it might go off on another runoff. This happened a while back with Steve Gaines and J.D. Greer, and J.D. Greer had to step aside and let Steve Gaines have it, even though at the time he was leading, but they just couldn't get to that majority. So, yeah. So he won more at the beginning, but now there's two people that are out. So where are those votes going to go is really the question.
Bylaw 1B only forbids a second motion from a messenger during the same business session. No one yet has made a second motion during this business session. So my second motion should be in order.
Oh, man.
Amend the bylaws of
Stop just for a second, please.
There's been so much fighting today about who's like in order and not in order, and there's a lot of mistrust, I'll say that, for the parliamentarian guys in order of business fellows.
The point of order is not well taken. Thank you. 1B.
We're getting abrupt. Everyone's getting tired and hungry.
Member and pastor on staff at Central Baptist
Church, Warner Robins, Georgia. I move that the Southern Baptist Convention allow messengers going forward to be vetted and registered at the local association and allow the full voting rights and participation in the annual Southern Baptist Conventions from those associational sites. Due to the high cost of travel and the advanced technologies of our day, we can have more messengers from our local churches participate in the annual meetings.
Well, that
local associations.
is an interesting motion.
The committee and the Credentials Committee would be responsible for carrying this action out. This was previously submitted online to the app.
Thank you so much, my brother. Is there a second to that motion? I think that's pretty clear. There's a second. So if you would submit that.
Okay, so what he basically just said is, hey, why don't we just get together with our associations, use electronic means to do voting from there, and be able to send them to a central location for voting on these things so more people can have a vote and a say at the annual meeting without having to pay to be able to go to Anaheim. Because it is really expensive, and there are a lot of pastors who can't afford it. And I think that's smart. Like, come on. We got ways to be able to do voting remotely. So I hope they do that. I think that would be more helpful. All right, time has expired.
So now we enter into our time of the North American Mission Board report. The chair recognizes Kevin Ezell, President of the North American Mission Board, for a church.
Oh, man. So now we're at the North American Mission Board.
Turns out I'm the one that begins the report. 1 in 9
Okay.
Americans live in California.
All right, so how far back are they? They're catching up on their agenda. Let's see. I am curious. I'm going to turn the volume all the way down. I am curious to see what kind of questions they're going to come up with for Kevin Ezell, because there have already been motions to do investigations into the North American Mission Board. So I'm interested to see what kind of questions he's going to get. But I mean, essentially, basically what they're doing right now is the North American Mission Board is doing great things. That's everyone has to come in and say, hey, things are going fantastic. You know how it is. That's their report. Let's see. I need to figure out how my pastor voted on this stuff. Wonder if there's a full list of all the motions available. There is. I don't know where it is right now. But yeah, there is a list. I think it's on Baptist Press that they are keeping a running tab of all the different motions. But I don't have a link right now for that, but it is being done. So I would go to Baptist Press and just look around, Michael, and there's probably a list somewhere there. I did look at it earlier today. That's why fellowship dinner is before the business meeting. People aren't as hungry. Yeah. Did you hear earlier when the president scolded the messengers on the way they were treating the volunteer pages? Yeah, I did hear that. And I mean, it's just people trying to do their jobs. And these pastors, most of these people are pastors, and they're so rude. Like some of these guys, at least, like just their pages, they're interns. Let them try to do their job, man. It's kind of shameful, to be honest. Some of these things need to be said. But that electronic voting would destroy due process, hurting the anonymity of the church and not follow the sufficiency of the scripture. All the quotes. Is that the bingo? Did you hit bingo with all the quotes? Yeah, he's joking. But yeah, it's just, you could do it. Everyone could do it. We could vote and it would be much easier. And then, what about rural bivocational pastor? Like, he doesn't have money to go out to Anaheim, California when he lives in Mississippi. You kidding me? Like, that's so much money. So let him vote. Go to the association. And also that would mean that they would get more involved in the local associations. 2 birds, 1 stone, man. Jojo, does anyone know if the issue on Resolution 9 that passed in 2019 will be addressed using critical race theory as a tool to understand racism in the SBC? Thank you for streaming this. I don't expect it to be talked about. Like, I don't think that there's going to be any decision made that's going to address Resolution 9. Maybe it'll come up in passing, but I mean, that's from the past now. Like, we're several years removed at this point, so I don't see that it would be relevant as far as like some new motion being made. And actually, you know, that being it, those are all the motions. There are no new motions coming out. So now what they're going to do is they're going to have the committees get together. They're going to make a decision on whether these motions should be carried out, and there'll be debate on each one, whether they should be allowed to be voted on or not. Basically, committees are going to decide whether they're relevant, and then they'll address it. So there'll be a lot of discussion on that. So I just don't think that we're going to get a whole lot more tonight. So I'm probably going to call it quits here in a couple minutes. If you are watching here, I see 37 of you are watching. Yeah, I'm going to keep on saying it. Hit the like button. It lets people know that I'm streaming, and tomorrow I will be streaming again. I'll react to whoever won the presidency, because I don't think we're going to find out before I'm done streaming here. And I don't want to, like, I have a family, and I think they still like me. So I'm going to go up and hang out with them. But yeah, but I will say, stay in the loop on these things, because Kevin Ezell is about to probably get some really mean questions, I'm assuming, and he'll answer them graciously like he always does. And then we'll find out who won the presidency, and it's going to be close. It's really about those 5% that voted for Holloway or whatever his name. I apologize. Like, I don't mean to belittle him. I just don't know his name. So that 5%, where's that going to go? Because I do believe that those votes that went to Frank Cox, the guy who just decided that he was going to run today, I think that most of those are going to go to Askell. So they're pretty even. So it's really about that 5%. And I do believe it's going to make a big difference on how the SBC handles abuse moving forward, and whether they're going to, let polity be the thing that they keep on saying is stopping them from taking real, determined action in the moment and not just kicking the can down the road. Let's see. Is Cali this year's or last year's priority? California is the domestic. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether it's California or not. Let's see. Yes, I was being sarcastic. I think it is nuts to have these votes like this when it is costly and hard to send people so far to these conventions, right? Like inflation, gas, it's very hard to travel. And like I said, a lot of these guys, they're not pastoring mega churches. So their churches aren't paying for them to go. Like, I know a lot of pastors who are paying out of their own pocket to be there because they think it's important. And I think that, hey, if you want to drive to the biggest city next to you, it's like 2 hours away, that might be a whole lot easier than being able to, get out to Anaheim. But I had to throw in some barbs at the stupid reasoning for doing nothing. Yeah. Yep. What will they go over tomorrow? Well, tomorrow they will be dealing, all these motions have been made, and they got to do something with these motions. And they got to vote on these motions. And then there's a few other reports that are going to be coming in. Decisions, basically. Today was basically all like, here's everything. And they did make a few decisions, when it came to the task force, and those were good. And they're making a decision now about who's going to be their president. But tomorrow, it'll be a lot more decisions about the motions that we heard. And a lot of debate. I'm not sure when I'm going to be going live. So if you are not subscribed to my channel, do it. That way you actually know when I'm going live, and hit the notification bell. Now, as I looked, it'll probably be mid-morning, but it is Pacific time, so maybe afternoon when I go live tomorrow. But yeah, let's see, Christian. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Daddy is the word that is upon the air in this home, and I must go tend to my little girls. Grace and peace, family. Yeah, right back at you, man. And also, same thing going on here. So I'm going to end the stream. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Tomorrow I'll be back to talk about all this, and maybe then we'll know who's the next president of the Southern Baptist Convention. All right, so I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.